So now we come to a new module about innovation. And to start off, it's my pleasure to introduce Zenia Tata, who is the Chief Impact Officer of the X Prize Foundation, who will talk about moonshot thinking. There she is.
We have Zenia with us.
A mindset to groundbreaking ideas and behavior. I'll just say a few words about you, if I can, Zenia. You have over 25 years of experience in business development, program design, and strategic management. And Zenia oversees X Prize's global impact strategy, ensuring that impact is incorporated into all facets of the organization's work. Originally from Mumbai, India, Zenia is passionate about her work with economically disadvantaged populations and is constantly searching for innovative solutions to global problems. Did you want to say something about X Prize?
Yes, I love X Prize Foundation. Is the founder of Singularity University, which we are proud part of in Poland, is also one of the founders of X Prize Foundation. Correct me if I'm wrong, Zenia, but I think that one of the also supporters are, among the most well-known supporters are Elon Musk and Larry Page.
Correct. Yes, absolutely.
It's great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me. It's
Great. Well, the floor is yours.
in person.
Nice to see you.
Finally.
Yes.
So over to you, Zenia.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I will start sharing my screen in a moment, but let me just first say hello to everybody out there listening in and who might listen in the future as well. Today, we're going to talk about moonshot thinking, but we're going to talk about it today in a very different context from when I've talked about it before. Because we're in unprecedented times, of course, right? We're in times of complete chaos in some ways, but more than anything else, in times of uncertainty. And so what I've been doing over this last 8 months or so through the pandemic is been developing this theory about a different kind of model for leadership and action that is needed to think in these really big ways to kind of have impact on a planetary scale. So that's what we're really going to focus on today. So if you just indulge me for a second with clunkiness, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, and we can go ahead and begin. So can you see my screen, my slides? Okay, I trust you can. So today's talk is going to be about how do you take these moonshots for radical innovation. I know this is kicking off a new module on innovation. Innovation is a very used word, right? It is overrated in some circles, it's underrated in other circles. But the truth is, innovation is all about perseverance, about really hard work. Innovation is not about happenstance. It is about applying one's mind, one's heart, and also one's conscience to do the right thing for our planet and its people, because we're living in really, really interconnected times. And if this pandemic hasn't shown us that, nothing else really, really will. So again, as we talked about earlier, I am from X Prize. I'm the Chief Impact Officer. I have an amazing job there. I've been there for about 8 years, where I get to lead the teams of scientists and researchers who design all of the prizes, and we put all the technical parameters around the prizes to ensure impact. At X Prize, we are conveners of radical ideas, bold innovators. Maybe there are some of you in the crowd today who have applied for our prizes before, and if so, thank you. And if you haven't, now's your chance. We have a lot of exciting prizes coming up as well. We focus on breakthrough interventions or breakthrough inventions, but at a planetary scale, and convene a lot of global expertise around it. And we do this by catalyzing technological breakthroughs, global impact, catalyzing new markets, and really focusing on crowdsourced solutions. So that's who we are at X Prize. So for a moment here, let's talk about moonshots. You've all heard the term. It's been around for a long time. What are moonshots? So moonshots are those really big, impossible ideas that can change the world. They are very transformative efforts, very bold efforts, and they usually address a really big problem, and they propose a radical solution, and often they have breakthrough technology at the core of them. However, when we talk about moonshots, a lot of times in the general media, we don't talk about the shift in mindset that is necessary to take this kind of a moonshot. So today in my talk, you're going to hear me focus a lot on that aspect. How do you shift your own mind to be ready to take this kind of a moonshot? Because it all begins right up here. And I hope you all agree with me there, right? But I also want to say that moonshots aren't the only thing. I also believe in slingshots. What is a slingshot, you might ask? Well, slingshot theory typically, it talks about when again, this is a good example of slingshot theory in space flight, when you use the gravitational pull of an object like Earth to slingshot your way, to gain momentum, to get to another object like the moon or Mars or whatever it might be. The way I use slingshot theory as opposed to moonshots is that moonshots might be big, radical, bold, completely new ideas. Slingshots are as important for our world today. What slingshots do is they use the gravitational pull of trends, today's global trends, happenings today, technology trends as well. And they use those particular trends to further your business, further your ideas, further the impact of what you can do in the world. So today I want you to think of moonshots and slingshots. And as I speak, I want you to think about your own business, your own invention, or your own startup, or whatever your own dream is, and decide, is this a moonshot or a slingshot? And how do I change my mindset and bring transformation to this world? So if you want to take a moonshot or a slingshot, this kind of radical innovation requires a shift of your own mindset. It requires a completely new way of leading, a new tool set for the future. It also requires uncommon sources of inspiration, because we all need that, right? We all get stuck. I get stuck every week in every project. I usually run 5 design projects at a time, and they're very divergent. They could be COVID related to something dealing with AI, could be something dealing with climate, and usually is a combination of all of these things. And we get stuck, and we all need inspiration. So I'm going to share with you some of the sources I go to for inspiration. And we also need a new yet collective vision of success. This last point is really important, and I'll talk about it in a little bit. But the reason why we need this collective vision of success is because of what I said earlier. We are all so completely interconnected right now on our planet, right? I mean, again, if the pandemic hasn't shown this, nothing else will. So we cannot have just the individual vision of success anymore. It's not enough. We've got to bring other people along. We've got to make sure our planet is also taken care of. And of course, we have to make a profit while doing it. Nobody is saying that everything has to be for charity. All right, so let's dive deeper into these 5 areas. So the first thing I want to talk about is the mindset, right? We have to start shifting our thinking from linear and local to global and exponential. Many of you have heard this before. You've read about it. Ray Kurzweil writes about it. Peter Diamandis writes about it. Others have written about it, about how our human biology is 50,000 years old, if not older. The last evolutionary leap that we received was in our brain, a little tweak, and was 50,000 years ago. So our body, our brain, our mind, our hormones, everything is programmed to dealing with a very different world than we are dealing with now. And so we have to work to make the shift from thinking linear and local to global and exponential. So how do we do that? We do that with this amazing tool that we've been given. I would say we do that with two tools that we've been given. And it's all up here in our head. One is extreme curiosity. As humankind, we are extremely curious beings, right? My prior slide, this is the Rift Valley in Ethiopia, where man was first stepped out and started spreading across the world. We did that. We took that first step out of our tribes with extreme curiosity. We need to expand our minds constantly and keep that curiosity there all the time. Now, I don't mean that that's why you just consume social media and you just consume, unnecessarily, but you question everything. When I talk to my teams, I train them about have a child's mind and have a mindset of abundance, that this is possible. The positivity, the abundance mindset, and the curiosity is the fundamental building blocks of changing your mindset. The other thing I want to talk about is about how do you lead in these uncertain times? You have to become what we call a chaos pilot. This was a term coined by Astro Teller at Google X, and I just absolutely love it. And in these last few months, I've been diving really deep into this. Who are chaos pilots? Chaos pilots are people who can creatively lead during extreme uncertainty. They have the ability to structure during chaos and take and drive projects forward in a world that is constantly changing and fluctuating. Do you recognize yourselves in here? I hope you do, because all of you are chaos pilots if you're working and trying to do transformative things at this particular time. So what do chaos pilots do? They bring this divergent thinking, ability to uniquely connect ideas and information and concepts that typically don't converge. They're held apart. Chaos pilots bring this ability to think divergently, but converge that thinking into real action, to really execute on this and make things real. And then chaos pilots are also able to communicate these ideas in compelling and inspirational ways to others. So become a chaos pilot. Become comfortable with extreme uncertainty, because that is going to be our world for a very, very long time. That's how we're going to lead when we want to create. Expand your toolkit. Whatever you're doing right now, make it even bigger with the technologies that are available so freely in the world. And then watch for convergences of these technologies. I know I'm speaking at a robotics conference today, and many of you know about our Avatar X Prize, right? So again, it's about not just about one particular technology, but looking at what happens when robotics marries big data and AI. What happens then? What are the great convergences that come out of it? What are the great inventions that can come out of this? So again, up your game by improving and expanding your toolkit with all of these amazing exponential technologies that are available to all of us in our world today. When we talk about technological revolutions, we talk about revolution that comes and goes in cycles, in 3 waves. First wave is typically about invention. I want you to think about robotics. I want you to think about AI right now when I'm talking. First wave is about invention. Oh my God, what is this? What is the capability of this? What can this actually do? The second wave is about application of those technologies, correct? So that's where you see the platform plays, right? So you see all these platforms created. On those platforms with APIs, others can start creating. That's about mass application. But the third wave, the wave that we are in today, is about total transformation. How do we use this to unlock game-changing ideas, unlock collective intelligence from around the world, extreme radical collaboration, And how do we come up with new business ideas, new business models, even new financial models for business? This is the third wave of transformation that we are in today with a lot of the technologies that you and I work with on a daily basis. So again, don't get stuck in the second wave of just application. Think about transformation. Transformation for whom? Yes, for profit, of course, for yourselves, but transformation on a planetary scale. How are you going to truly impact the lives of at least a few million people with your technology? If you are not asking that question every day, every week in your team meetings and your stand-ups, whatever it is you're doing, how are we going to truly transform the lives of at least a million people? Then is your business really worthwhile? I want you to really think about that. At XPRIZE, when we design, we think about game-changing transformation that truly can impact the lives of at least a billion people. The same with Singularity University. How do we change the lives of a billion people is what we ask. So please stop asking, how do you make your next $1 million? Also ask, how do I make my next $1 million by transforming the lives of at least a million people? All right, let's talk about inspiration now, which is all of us need that boost of inspiration, right? That shot in the arm, that when everything is just not working right for us, everything feels really stuck. Where do we go? What do we do? Well, for me, it's two things. I get my inspiration from science fiction. At XPRIZE, we call it transforming science fiction into science reality. Science fiction, I prefer to read it, but I love to watch it too, but has amazing applications for technology. The reason why I love science fiction is because science fiction is a medium that allows you to drop technology into a world of humans, to understand how humans will interact with it, what policies will need to be formed around this, who will reject it, which is just as important, correct? So again, science fiction is an amazing source of inspiration. Another source of inspiration for me has always been our planet and nature. Look at biomimicry. We have 4.5 billion years of prototyping that has gone on all around us on our planet. Look and ask, how has nature solved this problem in the past? Because usually nature has solved this problem in some way or another. Maybe in not a kind way by eliminating a species, but still nature has found a way. So look to nature, look to science fiction for examples and inspiration. And last of all, we have to adopt a very agile vision of success. It is no longer where we can create this 5-year business plan or this 2-year business plan and stick to it, right? I mean, I wish I could be speaking to you live and see a show of hands, but how many of you had to completely change your business plan and your business model in the last 8 months? I guarantee you almost everybody would have their hands up right now. Right? So again, this is about being a true chaos pilot. You have to reframe. You have to suspend judgment about the ultimate result. And you have to stay open to a multitude of outcomes. You cannot stay focused on one vision of success. And how do you do that again? You remain curious. You remain positive, extremely important, and you do that by thinking about your problems as something enthralling, not overwhelming. So reframing and adopting a new vision of success is extremely important. So I would love to hear from you all about what your moonshot is. Where are you stuck right now? And I encourage you to develop your moonshots and your slingshots. Don't get married to a particular vision of success. Be chaos pilots. And remember, if your business is not transforming the lives of at least 1 million people, then why bother? Right? So I would love to talk to you all more, love to take some questions from you. And I think we'll be open in the chat room. And here's my contact information, just in case we cannot get to chat today. Thank you very, very much for having me here. Over to you all.
Oh, Zenia, thank you. It was so energetic. Thank you so much. Can you tell us, because really what Express Foundation is doing for our future, basically for making this world a better place. So can you share with us what are the latest examples of your work, of what Express is currently focusing on? I've seen your educational work, which was amazing. I was even writing for the Polish press about them. But can you share with us what's on your mind now? What are you focusing on now?
Absolutely. We are focusing a lot on COVID right now. So very rapidly in March, we launched a pandemic alliance. And we gathered experts from around the world who have been advising us and working on COVID-related challenges and issues. So the first challenge that we launched a youth mask challenge. We first put out a survey to the world to ask people why people won't wear masks. And then we use that criteria to build a quick X Prize that is only for youth to build a new kind of a mask, a new generation of masks. But the big prize that we launched in July was around rapid testing for COVID. Mm-hmm. And that prize, we designed that in record time, and it is for very, very affordable, non-invasive testing that gives you results within minutes. Almost like you can think of it like a pregnancy test or a home-based test for COVID. So you could spit into a test tube and you can immediately understand where you are today, where your levels are concerned. So we have had about 220 semifinalists that we are now working with. And that's what we're working on right now. We are also designing another COVID-related challenge that is all using big data and AI to create predictive models. So it's using evolutionary AI to create predictive models for certain, if you do certain interventions in a certain population, like in a city or a country, what the models will look like for COVID 2 weeks later.
Yes.
What the models will look like. So that's the third thing we're working on. And then the fourth thing we're working on is also models for vaccine deployment. Because we understand that if we don't know how to deploy vaccines to 7.3 billion people, we're going to see civil unrest on an unprecedented scale.
Yes.
So there's got to be some method to that madness, And of course, what better way to go to our toolbox and to use tools of today, AI and big data and computational modeling to understand how to do that best.
Wow.
So these are some of the COVID-related challenges. We also have a whole suite of challenges right now that are climate change related, which are the things that I'm extremely, extremely passionate about. So we have a prize to capture carbon straight out of air that we're hoping to launch. We have a coral reef restoration X Prize that we're hoping to launch. All of these were going to launch this year, but everything has got shelved. Early next year, we are launching a clean meat X Prize for fish and chicken alternatives.
Wow.
Meat, so cellular-based or plant-based agriculture. We also launched a rainforest X Prize for Amazonia to map the Amazon forests at a scale that has not been done before, because you cannot change or protect something you don't understand. And the forest, like our oceans, had remained unmapped. So these are just a small flavor of some of the prizes.
Wow. Wow, you're doing a very important job. I know that you know that. But
Zenia,
thank you.
Yeah, we have some questions from our viewers. The first one, I'm not sure if you quite answered it, but what is your moonshot now? And maybe I'll give you a second question as well to digest. You're sounding so positive, but in practice, do you see many leaders who follow your logic? So the moonshot and leaders who follow your logic.
Great question. So the first very quick one, I would say personally, if you're asked that, because X Prize, we have a lot of moonshots, but personally, I would love to see our carbon removal X Prize, capturing carbon out of ambient air and sequestering it for a millennia. I would really like to see that X Prize and that moonshot become a reality. The second one, oh, hell no. Of course not. There's a lot of people not following, right? That is why it is so important for us to exude this positivity and it's not fake. I'm a very, for those of you who may know me, I'm a very energetic person, and it's early in the morning right here in the mountains of Colorado. The sun is just coming up, but you have to have this level of positivity and belief and faith in yourself, in your team, in the world in general, in humanity in general, to effect change at a planetary level.
Yeah.
If you don't have faith in humanity, if you don't have faith that somehow in our species we will pull through, then you have no business doing this work. Get out of the arena, go somewhere else. But if you want to play in this field, you got to come with your A game. And your A game, I will say again and again, begins in your own head. It begins in your own action, and it begins how you lead, in your own heart. Absolutely right.
Yes.
Zenia, it's.
Well, I have to say it's also my personal moonshot to, to ask as many people as possible to join this kind of movement, to use technology to help this world to survive. So it's also I'm also
Wonderful.
It's breakfast for you, but it's after lunch for us. So you're the perfect speaker to have after lunch because you're giving a lot of energy to the room. You mentioned about the leaders, and I asked this question to Lisa earlier about the younger generation, because I don't think it's being that's exaggerating to say that they seem to really want. No, not just one, but are making a difference. And you saw that, for example, after the shooting, because in America, where everyone else thought, oh, God, not another one, but there's nothing we can really do about it. And they all came out on the street and organized a march in Washington and everything. And of course, we've seen it with climate change. And do you see a different type of thinking in the new generation?
Absolutely. We're counting on them. We're counting. What I see most of all in the next generations is the breaking down of silos. They don't see a lot of separation, a lot of us and them. And you see that on the gender side, you see that on just even on the economic divide side. It's like we're all in this fight together. And that's a wonderful thing to see and a wonderful thing to experience. And we have to learn a lot from that. And also we have to ensure that doesn't go away as they start getting into their 20s and 30s, start needing to make money, start needing to have their own families. They still need to have this collective vision and this collective consciousness, right? And that is where the fine blend of the head and the heart in business has to kind of come through in your actions.
Are you optimistic that they will, despite, getting older and all the responsibilities, are you optimistic that they will keep that fire burning, if you like?
I am always optimistic. I'm an eternal optimist.
You look like Zenia. So I have one maybe last question. Because you were 8 years with X Prize, so it's a huge amount of time and it's a huge amount of projects. What's your favorite one? But I mean favorite by you think it's the most influential for the planet, for us, for making world a better place. What's your favorite one?
So I would have to go back to the moonshot. It's the same one. And it's the Carbon Removal X Prize. Because if we're not able to start removing carbon at gigaton scale by the year 2030, this is a whole new market. This is a whole new area of virgin soil that people can come and start working on. There is going to be big profits in it as well, you know, and it'll be extremely big for our planet. But if we cannot start doing that, and these are scientific reports that are showing us this, if we cannot start doing this by the year 2030, we will face existential threats to life as we know it, not just to human beings, but to all of our biodiversity, to all of life as we know it.
Can I, Zenia, because we've only got 1 minute left, just to, I understand that the prize hasn't been awarded yet. You're looking to find it. Just in a very brief nutshell, how can you capture carbon dioxide out of the?
There's actually 8 ways to capture and sequester it. Some of them are natural systems, and some of them are machines. And so you can actually suck carbon out of the air and sequester it. And you can sequester it. It's very expensive to do this, right? But we're looking for moonshots. That's why. But you can pump it back into all the holes and crevices left by oil and gas by pumping out minerals, you know, and other resources. You can actually sequester the carbon back in there as well. So there are many ways to do it. You can sequester it, obviously, in our oceans, in our mangroves. You know, there are natural systems as well, but there are also mechanized systems to capture. So.
Okay, well.
Okay, thank you so much, Zenia. What a positive afternoon.
Thank you, Zenia.
You brought more sunshine to Poland, although we have a lot, but it's even more now.
Oh,
and it's so promising. Thank you so much for joining us and for this wonderful speech.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zenia. All the best. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.